All right, let me just see if we should be on. We should be somewhere. Hopefully, if you. Oh well, would help if I turn my phone on. Okay, yeah, we're good. All right. Welcome everybody to Get Bit Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds, for anyone with a fandom. You are definitely most welcome here. I'm your host, most Will Buchanan. Of course, the man to my left, your right, to being behind your screen is flipped. He's already made me break kayfabe at a con, so I'm only going to assume what he's got tonight. So, what do you have?
The nigh unstoppable, constantly moving, making you buy more Gundams than you need, Joe Tonello.
I'm still mad how that was a setup.
I
I'm
can't
mad.
believe you ran into it.
Eesh. I didn't really run into it per se. It was the fact that the guy was like, "Hey, it's $10." The guy was like, "Hey, it's $10. You can take it and you can leave it. It's up to you." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't really knock $10."
Hey, next time maybe I can just give you this.
Oh, I would take that in a heartbeat. I would take that in a heartbeat. That is actually one of the models I don't have. Um, But for all those who are wondering, yes, me and Joe were talking about National Comic Con that did actually happen today. Um, of course, I had the pleasure of going there and joining it. Joe, along with the Nashville Legion of Cosplayers, Joe went as Mr. Knight. Much to my nieces and nephews' joy, they were still talking about that, by the way. Um,
Yeah, that
but
was a weird experience because people kept asking me for pictures and stopping me, and I'm so unused to that because I cosplay what I usually cosplay, and I'm like, all right, this ended 2 weeks ago, and this is actually a popular character now.
Oh yeah, they loved it, especially my nephew. Especially my nephew, he was there talking about. He's like, I got to meet Mr. Knight. I was like, yeah, you got me. Do you know Mr. Knight? I said, I wanted to sit there and be like, well, I know one of them. I know one of them. I don't know all
I had a
three.
dad stop me. It's like, you guys want to take a picture with Moon Knight? And the little girl's like, Daddy, this is Mr. Knight.
but but for all those that were able to enjoy in Nashville, that's great. That's all right and
Uh,
cool. I'm sorry, what are you gonna say, Joe?
I was going to say, I believe this did go better than its Clarksville counterpart, from what I understand.
Uh, I I want to say yes. I didn't get to go to the Clarksville one, so I'm not sure what happened with that. But I mean, from what I saw, it was really a great turnout. Definitely a lot of people. I know one thing. It was definitely a lot of folks. I did love that was more artistry there. I did got to meet one of the guys who gave me well. I bought one of his one shots of Captain America, and he signed it, and I was thought that was the coolest thing ever. And it was just cool. That's like for me, it was cool to actually see my niece and nephews and my son kind of all giddy, especially when they got around the Legos. There was one guy who had like the Infinity in-game level of Lego characters out there. And it was funny watching all of them just try to figure out which characters they wanted to get. And then Pokemon and Funko Pops. I think one of my nephews walked out of there with a Neo Godzilla one, which I was like, that's impressive.
On top of that, that was actually the first time we met physically in person, which that was nice. That was
Yeah.
pleasant.
For all those that don't know, me and Joe actually, I mean, we talk to each other on a almost daily basis, but to actually see each other was, the first time, which I thought was really cool to actually see my co-host counterpart in person and in full cosplay.
Yeah, I resisted so hard to say, it's like, well, it's like, it really is a spot. And I'm like, just don't say whitest person in the room. Don't say whitest person in the room. I'm Mr. Knight, so technically I was the whitest person in the room at that time.
It did cross my mind. I'm not gonna lie.
I was thinking it so hard, like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
It definitely crossed my mind. I was gonna sit there and say, "Who's Mr. Knight?" I was like, literally the whitest person in the room, and I mean that. I mean that from a costume standpoint. I do not mean that as anything else. But no, for him, but like, again, for all those that got to go, I mean, it was really a fun experience. There is going to be another con coming up. Help me out here. Was it
That
June
is
or July?
Nashville Comic Con. The one we just went to was Nashville Con,
Yeah, so Nashville Comic Con is in July, if I'm right.
June 4th and 5th.
June 4th and 5th. Okay. For all those that want to know. But anyway, yes, we actually are coming back because last week was a lot. Me and Joe both got to see Doctor Strange along with a whole bunch of our other friends. We are going to give non-spoiler reviews because we don't want to go too much into detail. So I'm gonna let Joe go first. Just really quickly, what was your impressions of the Multiverse of Madness?
That was such a fun version of Evil Dead 4.
Yeah, you ain't wrong about that.
No, I loved it. Strangely, not a lot of Doctor Strange in this Wanda movie, but you know.
Wanda's weird trip arc. Weird.
No, if you were very good at memory recall,
Mhm.
WandaVision set this up a long time ago.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it. Strange that the Illuminati, the smartest people of the multiverse, were so dumb. The moment they came across a oil covered housewife.
Ooh, that gave me Carrie vibes. I'm sorry. When she came, I was like, I was expecting the full on just telekinesis at its full strength kind of power.
I mean, there are some things I think I would like to fix about the movie, but they are very small things.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing is that Doctor Strange is not Sorcerer Supreme, but also in the MCU, the Sorcerer Supreme title doesn't mean much anymore because the title was to say you've earned the right and you have the ability to guard the Time Stone effectively.
Pretty much.
And now that the Time Stone is no longer there, there's like the Eye of Agamotto doesn't really amount to much, at least from the movie standards.
Right. Considering he was still having the eye literally around his neck, which I
Yeah,
thought was
he still could have the eye, but you know, Wong's living up that title with being Sorcerer Supreme and arranging those fight matches with the Abomination every Thursday.
Hey, you gotta keep your skills up.
I mean, you know, you got to get paid. Someone's got to pay those repair bills for Comitage.
Right.
Um, the only other thing I think I would like to see is they. Well, I don't know how much of a spoiler this is, so we'll just say there is a certain demon that is constantly used in Wanda's past, and
Mhm.
the demon does come up in the movie, and I would kind of like to have him to have been more present in the film.
I can see that. I can agree with that.
We'll just leave that there.
No, I mean you're right. It was literally Evil Dead 4. I
I
thought,
really enjoyed it.
yeah, I did too. Sam Raimi in that was my opinion. I'm like, man, if this does not solidify you to kind of handle Marvel's horror side of storytelling, I don't know what does. I think that it was well done. I mean, you're right. There were some story issues, but because of the continuity and keeping it up with the MCU, I didn't really see a problem with it. At the simple fact of the matter, it was exactly what we wanted it to be. And just really quickly, I just want to stay and tell people, I don't know what you guys should not expect every Marvel movie to be sunny skies and full of humor and just lighthearted. There are some darker stories in Marvel, and we are now getting to the point to where we are going to discuss said dark stories. And if it's not your spot of tea, then cool, it's not your spot of tea. But I know for me, I've been waiting for this because I think this is going to open up the door to a lot of other darker storytelling, which is the only way that a lot of these characters can be done. Especially, I mean, the multiverse of madness is not exactly going down the yellow brick road in the Wizard of Oz. That's all I'm saying. But at the same time, though, I did like how they did the Illuminati. I was pleasantly surprised that we finally got one wish granted, and it looked great. I had no issues with it.
It looked great, but at the same time, I really do think that's all the same uniform from the Photoshop job at this too.
I'm not going to complain. I was in my seat bouncing up like a big ass kid. So I was bouncing up and down in my seat with a big ass kid, and my fiance was poor. My fiance was right there. Where I'm like, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening.
Yeah, and true to read fashion, smartest man in the room is also the stupidest man in the room.
That's fair. But especially how they set that up. But they didn't. I actually I take that back. Two of our wishes got granted, but one of them you already knew. So this is not really a spoiler alert. You do see Patrick Stewart in the movie. So if you're expecting that to be a spoiler, you have not been paying attention to the last 4 or 5 interviews that Sir Jean-Luc Picard has done. That he has sat there and said that yes, he is the voice that you hear in the trailer. So um, you're going to see him regardless. This is true. But overall, Multiverse of Madness I thought was very well done. I got no issues with it. I know we're going to give it another week or so because, again, it's just fairly new. This is only the second week or so it's actually been out. Or third, maybe second or third. But anyway, it's still fresh. But we're gonna come back to it and really go into it next podcast. But we just wanted to go ahead and give our thoughts on that. Move right along, though. I have to give Joe credit on this because his one shots on Naomi are amazing and not wrong.
The little show that never could and never will.
Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately, the CW has made some cuts. We already knew that was going to happen as more shows got canceled. We knew that Batwoman was not going to come back, which because, well, reasons. We had just actually found out less than 48 hours ago that Naomi, after its first season finale that just passed this week, has been canceled. And Joe wants to sit there and say so badly, what else is new? He wants to say it so bad.
No, I want to see what giant DC cameo everyone keeps talking about in Naomi because I'm not going to watch that series. So
giant DC cameo. There wasn't one.
I
had to go back and look. I was like, giant. What DC cameo was in Naomi? Because unfortunately, I trudged through the season finale. I'm like, I don't remember any cameos. Did they happen to say who? Or unless I fell out. But in my defense, I probably could have sat there and just ignored it as I was doing other things supposed to be watching the show, and it could have just flew me right by. But no, I mean, as you're finding out, Joe, but still, it's the whole idea of like I had such high hopes for Naomi. I really did. I thought it would do well. I thought it would, be a little bit different just because the star power behind it, the directors, and I have to say this to Hellspawn Cosplay, who was actually on our show a week ago. He sat there and said it, and he was exactly right. Even though some filmmakers may be great at telling other stories, there may be some when they get into the superhero realm that just may not give it its just due. So with Naomi, that's another one and done to the CW graveyard. As far as Stargirl goes, I would hope they would continue it. I think that we are. I'm sorry, what you say, Joe?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I hope we do see frenemies because I'm not going to lie. I love the second season. The second season went so dark and had a body count that would made Arrow blush.
So, update on that. We did get the title for the first 2 episodes of Frenemies, which is Infinity Inc. Part 1 and 2.
Oh, okay, cool. So we are actually going to get it. So we do know we are going to get a season 3 of Stargirl. After that, I would like to think that it gets moved to HBO Max because a lot of the DC shows on HBO Max are doing fairly well. We've seen that from Doom Patrol and Titans. The next Guardians, the next Green Lantern project, if it ever does surface, maybe on HBO Max, but at this point, it's still up in the air. But almost every DC show has thrived on that streaming service, but CW is in the throes of being sold to another network. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start cutting a lot of the fat, especially a lot of these heavy teen drama shows, just because they're just not up to snuff.
Oh, yeah, looks that Charm show pretty quick.
Oh, Charm, the 4400, Dynasty, all those drama shows got axed quick. Hey, BJ, DC shows on CW have been slipping further and further. Yes, they have. I hate to say it. Even Flash in itself. Go ahead, Joe.
Kill somebody in the Flash too?
Yes, they killed off Killer Frost.
What?
I feel like I just spoiler alerted some people.
You did.
I feel like I just spoiler. Okay, so I guess I should have gave a trigger warning before I said this, but yes, in the Flash, in the most recent episode of the Flash, when they were facing Deathstorm, who had a 3-episode arc, Killer Frost is now deceased. Now, here's the messed up part. This is the reason why I see why the Flash writing at this point, why we're probably going to see an abbreviated and possibly ending season 9. Again, just going into full territory, it's just the whole idea that you guys are basically looking at really, and me and Joe have said this already. The well has been run dry on the Flash. You pretty much went to the mid to god tier of villains, and you have nothing left. There's just there's I mean, you don't have much left in the chamber, especially considering they're keeping it within the continuity of the Arrowverse. What do you say, BJ? Flash has been Cheeks for the last 2 seasons. No, Flash has been Cheeks since season 4.
No, the Thinker season was actually really good.
That would be no, that was 4. That was actually 4. So after
thought that was
4 it got
5.
bad. I thought 5 was Godstorm. I thought 5 was Godspeed. But as you check on that, but no, it's just the whole idea, guys. It's just that unfortunately with the Flash, it just has went downhill. And don't get me wrong, Grant Gustin is still a great Barry Allen, although he's really Wally West playing Barry Allen. But hearsay. But my whole thing is like the whole problem with the Flash has always been what I've always said. You can only go so far as trying to do this whole Vin Diesel, we are Team Flash, lightsabers, lightsabers of lightning. It's almost like going Legends of Tomorrow kind of storytelling, and that's the reason why that show is canceled. And the thing about Iris, which then kills me, it's like you somehow still have to make Iris relevant. That's the part that kills me. That you have to be, and nothing against Candace Patton. Nothing against Candace Patton. She's an exceptional actress. But Iris, but it's like you have to make her character relevant when really it looks like the show is moving on without her. And that's the part that I'm just like, when are we gonna finally let her go and let her die?
Or just fade into the background, not die.
I mean, she can't fade into the background. That's the part that kills me about these story writers. It's like for one shining moment, you had a great episode in the Flash, and then it was just followed by mundane episodes. And it just went downhill. So I could see why the Flash has gotten worse. Even to the point now where they're not going to get a full they're not going to get a full 9 seasons, 9 season. It's going to be abbreviated, which probably means 1 or 2 or maybe 4 at best.
So I'm still wondering when we're going to see Cecile's first child before she married Joe, and when we're actually going to see this supposed baby.
Oh, that baby gone.
First baby is gone because she doesn't even bring up. It was like that little girl in Family Matters went up the stairs, never came back.
Judy went up the staircase and never came back down. That baby went into the multiverse and was lost.
No, the baby they still talk about. It's her first daughter.
Oh yeah, you will never see her. I mean, let's be honest.
They went upstairs and joined the right up there with Chuck Cunningham.
Yeah. It's like you'll never see her. Legends of Tomorrow was more of a funny show than a serious superhero show.
Yes, until it got too slapstick for its own good.
Right. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was the show that literally, it was the Seinfeld of DC. That's about the best way I can put. That's the best way I can put Legends of Tomorrow. It was literally the Seinfeld of DC. Okay. What do you think I said?
I thought you were talking about the Flash. Yeah, you're right.
The Flash is starting to become the Melrose Place of DC.
I will disagree with BG on this one. Is that they brought Eobard Thawne in too early. I disagree with that. Eobard Thawne is always a constant in Barry Allen. It's just he's not always prevalent to the ongoing events, but he's always there waiting for an opportunity to screw with Barry.
Right. And honestly, with Eobard Thawne and with Wells, as far as that tandem, it actually did make the show great. Not to say that Wells wasn't carrying the show, but every good positive on a show needs a negative to go against it. And I kind of felt like that was the whole circle between those two, in my opinion. But again, that's the reason why I said it's like with DC at this moment, I have hopes for DC, but I think CW needs to finally let go of DC shows. But what do you think, Joe?
I'm just going to be polite and say they all did their best.
That you went the whole thing. If you can't say something nice, go the least common denominator.
Yeah.
Right.
Right up there with Halo, because every news site is reporting the newest episode of Halo. The biggest sticking point is John has now become Jonathan.
You know the funny part about that is about Halo, and just to transition, it is so far away from the source material, but yet I'm so intrigued to see what happens next. Like literally this most recent episode of Halo, Master Chief got laid.
Yeah, that's all the internet's talking about. And I'm like, this is why I dropped that show, like right after he took his helmet off.
I'm like, Halsey went straight Dr. Sinister, and Master Chief, I mean, he found someone. It's like John is no longer alone in the universe. So I'm just thinking to myself, I was riding for you, Halo. I was still it's amazing how much you got. It's amazing how much you got the characters down. It's amazing how much you got attention to detail as far as costumes and caricatures. The warthogs look great, but the story is going to suffer because just like video game adaptations, you like, hey, here's all the source material. Bump that. We're gonna write our own stuff. And I
The
just thought to
biggest,
myself, no, no,
sorry,
no,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
The biggest issue with this series is it feels like they're playing some of the episodes out of the order. Like the first couple episodes feel like they should have been episode 5, 6, and 7 of like 12.
Yeah. It has that feeling of like, and don't be wrong, I still think it can redeem itself because that one battle with the Covenant, I thought it was like, okay, this is what we wanted to see. But it's like, how do you have all these source material, the comics, the books, the video games, and you're trying to do pre-Halo but post-Reach? Okay. So it's like you're kind of, but you're also mixing in Guardians, but you're also mixing in ODST. Some of this is not going to work out right, but again, I was like, I want to give Halo a shot just because it's one of those. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll be one of those. The showrunner finally gets it right somewhere down the line, but that's the problem with these video game shows. With these video game adaptations on movies and television, I don't know what it is. I feel like there's a Hollywood executive somewhere doing a line of Peruvian marching powder and saying, this is going to be great, and ignore everything else. That's the thing I always said about this. What do you say, BJ? All the evil speedsters after Thawne was TV NyQuil. Damn.
No, I would argue, God, what's his name? Black Flash.
Zoom?
Zoom was still a very good villain.
Yeah, I thought Zoom was a great villain. I won't say all of them was TV NyQuil, but I like to think that, Zoom was pretty good. I'll give Godspeed credit. I'll even give even shoot. Even the Doom Wraiths when they were tracking him through the Speed Force. I'm like, that's still accurate. But no, I kind of disagree with that. But no, but going back to Halo, I mean, I see why Joe you stopped watching it. It's just it's like you want to give it hope. You do want to give it hope. It just, I mean, I'll stick with it because you know what? I said the same thing about Batwoman. I said the same thing about Naomi. I said I want to give these unique characters hope, but Hollywood is just crapping all over the writing for these shows. They really are. But I did want to ask you your thoughts on Superman and Lois, though, because at least we might as well move on to good DC shows before we go on to other news.
I did not get to it this week.
Oh, dang! I can't. Do you want me to tell you about it?
You can. You know, I don't mind.
Okay, so what actually winds up happening? This was a couple of weeks. This was actually a couple of weeks. So, where we left off, Superman was in Bizarro World, was trying to basically get the necklaces back. Long story short, Bizarro Jonathan, who has powers in Bizarro World, goes back to go back to Earth Prime to merge with that Earth's Jonathan. Jordan does stop him momentarily until Clark comes back and actually fights him. And eventually, which is the real messed up part, the other Bizarro Lois comes through and tries to merge with herself. So So it was a weird thing of Clark trying to keep his identity secret from Lois while fighting Bizarro Lois, while trying to keep everything kosher. But in the end, he did realize that things are starting to get dicey as more Bizarro people are starting to show up. So he's like, Lois is your best friend. You might as well tell her. You've been keeping a secret from her. So in the end of the episode, he does go to Lois and pretty much tells her, takes and there's going to be a lot of people going to argue this. He takes off the glasses, right? And she's like, you can't be him. And he floats in the air. And I know a lot of people right now are going to sit there and be like, so he takes off the glasses and they suddenly realize he's Superman. I know that argument can be made that, anybody who's not looking at Superman, looking at Clark Kent, not going, picture him with glasses. I get it. I get it. But for all intents and purposes, let's just run with it. But no. But that's where it is right now. So right now, they're setting up to where Allie, who is now Parasite, who is about to come through from Zorro World, is going to come in. And I guess the whole big fight's going to happen next week. So not at all a bad 2 episodes. I think it is setting up to where she's going to announce that she's Parasite because, dude, she is acting every bit from the comics. But trust me, you're as far as Superman and Lois goes, you're not missing a lot. But that is still, to me, one of the best shows. Probably the only good show left on CW at this moment. But while we're in DC, we do have to talk about Ezra Miller, because we know we're going to get the Flash movie. They wasted. That sounds so bad. They invested. There we go. They invested a lot into that movie. They invested a lot into Michael Keaton. They invested a lot into telling the Flashpoint paradox story. But Ezra being in this much legal trouble, and now he's coming out and saying that these people are starting fights with me because they want NFT content to sell. Sounds like to me a Hail Mary to save his job, even though Warner Brothers, or I'm sorry, we have to say the full name now. Warner Brothers Discovery. It's going to take me a while to say it all. Or maybe just WDB. Yeah, WBD. Let's go with that. So WBD had a meeting, and they have not said that Ezra Miller is out as a Flash. But John, I know we talked about this, Joe, but do you think that this is the final nail in the coffin for Ezra Miller playing the Flash?
Well, I mean, they've already disproven that that replacement actor they named last week was fake. So they're still going to pursue with him, but I think WB can't make official statement because they're still going through that merger.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, I doubt it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I want to say it depends on how the movie does. If the movie does well, I think it'll save him. If the movie bombs, then that's going to be the end of it. Until they want to bring up the Flash at a different time. Or they could use Flashpoint Paradox as a way of saying Barry changed. Although that would kind of be a little bit of a weak sauce argument, but it's possible. But to me, I'm going to be honest. That guy has been in so much trouble. And on top of that, you've been, I mean, how in the world do you get arrested and then get arrested on the way to your court date? It's just like, are you just a magnet for just law enforcement? That's the thing that killed me about it. But I think that, because of that, and the fact of the matter is, like I said, they have too much money tied to the Flashpoint movie to give it away. So I still think in the sometime near future, we are going to see it. But at the same time, I don't think Ezra Miller is going to make the long run. I don't think he is. I think that at one point they're just going to pull the ripcord and say that's it. Yeah. But I just think so because I'm sorry. Anybody that comes to DC fandom and he looks 6 ways of high, well, we don't really have a trailer because we're still filming. We don't have a clip because we're still filming. I was like, dude, yeesh. I don't know what they got you on. Level off though. I'm like, that's all I want to say the whole time I was watching DC fandom. It's like, whatever you're on, level off. Because apparently, sir, you have reached optimal flight areas. That's all I'm saying. But no, But was that was also with other DC movies, DC news. I think there was talk about the Green Lantern, another Green Lantern project, Joe.
Yeah, there's a full trailer and everything. Did you need me to link you to that?
See, because I'm gonna try to play it, but I'm gonna be honest, it may or may not work. But we'll give it a shot. I was like, it may or may not work, so maybe. Let's see, because I was gonna say maybe I can share the screen, maybe I can't, but hey, let's give it a shot. Worst thing can happen. But let me give it a shot though. So yeah, so the Green Lantern, Beware My Power.
Yep.
Okay, let me see how this is gonna work. Because this could go awesome. This could go a train wreck. Let's see. So is this fall? So have you said you've seen this trailer, Joe, right?
Yeah. Here's a link.
Okay, yeah, I got it. I'm just gonna I'm gonna try this. Hang on a second. Yeah, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try this and see if it works. So here we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. This might let me not. I'll tell you what, let's try this. Oh no, it's gonna go infinity. Oh god, it's gonna go infinity if I do that. I'll tell you what, Joe, try sharing it from your computer on your side. Let's see if we can play it that way. Because I was gonna say from my side, it's not gonna work on the single screen. Actually, I'm curious about it myself because I always rooted for Jon Stewart. I rooted for John. I always rooted for John, but again, it still made me mad as far as the death of the Justice League. How do you have the power of a Godstorm and you got stomped out?
Well, that may be not exactly what it is.
You got stomped out. Go ahead and try playing it.
Hey, intruder! Whoa!
I have pointy ones too.
Look.
Who are you? How did you get a ring? My name is Jon Stewart, and if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. What the hell?
At last, I found you.
Jon Stewart of Earth.
What?
You possess singular will. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps.
After years of bloody war, the Owen security net was disabled. Hal Jordan and millions of Thanagarians died that day. They will pay.
Well, she's fun.
Sinestro thrives on chaos and death.
Get ready for a fight. Annihilate them.
I've been up against that kind of barrier my whole life. It hasn't stopped you yet.
Coordinates set.
Let's go.
I can take that.
All right, we do have a cast and a release date. The movie will be released July 26th of this year. It will be part of the current continuity that is going on right now, which has now been dubbed the Tomorrowverse.
Okay.
Our cast will be Aldous Hodge as Jon Stewart, Jamie Simpson as Green Arrow, Ike Amandi as Martian Manhunter, Brian Bloom as Adam Strange, Jamie Gray Hyder as Hot Girl, and Rick D. Wasserman as Sinestro, with Jeff Wamster will be director, with John Simper and Ernie Atbacker as screenwriters.
Nice. I can live with that.
Yep, I'm down for it. I think it's super weird that John got Hal's origin, but
But Hal got killed off early.
I'm
So
okay with that.
it's like, how many times is Hal gonna get killed off early?
Well, actually, now I think about it, John gets a real bizarre hybrid of Hal and Kyle's
Yeah.
because it's a crashed ship, but it's Ganthet probably that passes. So
Okay.
super weird. Either way, I'm down because it's more Green Lantern for me.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I dig it, but it's just like it's like the more I was looking at this, I was like, wait a second. So it all said and done. it's like Hal Jordan, it's like Hal's no longer with us. I'm like, well, dang again.
It's like, well, Hal's no longer with it. Joe's gonna buy this movie.
I literally want to sit there and just be like, well, dang. It's like, well, you told us how you feel about the situation. but no, I really do dig it. I'm definitely going to be watching that when that comes out on Blu-ray. But what other trailers do we have? Because we'll probably be going through you for this one.
That's actually the only trailer we. Oh no, Weird Al's Weird.
Yep. Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna need that.
Let me open another video. Do.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, yeah, Weird Al Yankovic. Which again, shout out to Daniel Radcliffe because he freaking nailed it. Because between that one, because because Resident Evil's not worth talking about. I'm sorry. The more I go back and watch that trailer, the more I'm just like, no.
Where are you from?
Because I'm sorry, any Resident Evil movie that's gonna bounce in between, what they say, it was bouncing in between 3 and 6, which made no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, got you covered.
Hope you guys are ready for this.
Like a surgeon, cutting for the very first time. Like a surgeon.
Anyone got an accordion?
Like a surgeon. Hey! Cutting for the very.
What can I say? I'm full of surprises.
I can hear your heartbeat.
I am not mad about that at all.
So I have a feeling that this is going to be, in true Weird Al fashion, this is going to be a satirical autobiography and being shot in the same vein as UHF.
Yeah.
Which I'm greatly looking forward to, even though I don't have Roku and I'll have to watch it other ways. But that's fine. I'll watch it.
Other ways. We do not suggest anything illegal. We're just saying other ways. So that way we're saying just enough to keep the lawyers out. Just enough. But no, I'm gonna look forward to that just because I have been a fan of Weird Al, and to see him do it's interesting to see him do his own biopic of his own life and having Daniel Radcliffe, which he is definitely stepping out from that Harry Potter shadow with some roles he has been taking on as of late. So it is definitely going to be cool when that comes out. But like you, I will also be watching it through other means. But what else do we have? Not a lot in the video game world. There wasn't really too many releases that I can think of. Joe, did you have any releases that were coming out?
I mean, just Xenoblade in a month and a half.
Yeah, Xenoblade 3. I'm still, what am I kidding? I'm gonna buy that. I keep on saying I'm not, but I am. Just because I still want to see what they do with it after 2. Oh, we did want to talk about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights really quickly. Yes, that there has been a lot of news about it being canceled. It's not okay. So for all those who are wondering, if you have a PS4, if you have an Xbox One, you are going to be SOL. Warner Brothers did pull the plug and decided to stick with next gen only. So PS5s and Xbox Series X and S, and eventually the PC Master Race on Steam will get Gotham Knights. But unfortunately for us, for those of us who don't have those systems yet, we will be left out in the cold. The reason being is that Warner Brothers gave the reason that for programming and polishing, it just seems to be easier on the PS5 and Xbox Series X than it does on later gen systems.
So what that translates into is if we scrap the other games, they won't call crunch on us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is, because for a lot of these games, and we've been seeing it as of late, even with Horizon Forbidden West, as beautiful, and that's going to be a very hard game because I had that as my game of the year. I had that as my game of the year nominee. Even Horizon Forbidden West had some bugs. Didn't have a lot of bugs, but it did have some bugs. There was also crap. I'm trying to think of all the games. Final Fantasy, Stranger in Paradise, a Final Fantasy origin story. That had a lot of bugs in it. Elden
I thought
Ring.
that was the point. Does that count as a spoiler?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh man.
No, honest to God, I don't know if that counts as a spoiler or not.
No, you do not know how accurate. I know you were throwing a joke, but you do not know how accurate you were in that statement. That's why I'm laughing. Don't get me wrong. As a Final Fantasy fan, A Stranger in Paradise was a different type of gameplay, but as Joe so eloquently put it, it was definitely full of bugs. Elden Ring, for all intents and purposes, that had some bugs as well. So a lot of gaming companies are
finished.
Say what, Joe?
Said I'm almost finished.
You're farther along than I am. I almost sat there and said I want to come back to this when I'm more focused. But a lot of these video game companies, what they're basically saying is just that, well, we have a timeline, we're trying to set it, but if we rush it, we're going to give you a half-finished game, and then you're going to complain about it, then we're going to blame corporate, and then corporate's going to blame us, and then the game's not going to get made. So what did Warner Brothers do? They decided to go ahead and just, cut off the later games. They figure they can just focus on the next-gen platforms and not try to recess or downgrade to the lower end, basically cutting their timetable in half. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is going to be the beginning of the end for a lot of the PS4 and Xbox Series One, Xbox One games. This is the beginning of the end. They are going to sit there and literally start cutting the head off the snake and just focusing on next gen platforming. If this becomes successful, and I say it's a mighty big if, because I'm still waiting on Black Wukong. I'm still waiting on Black Myth Wukong, and I still hope that game ever gets made one day.
I still think that's a tech demo.
It started out as one, but I can't. It started out as one, but I cannot help that every time I see more information come out about it, I'm like, so did you guys get investors or did you guys get a gaming company to buy onto it? Because everybody's like, well, Square Enix should do it. Whoa, wait a minute. Square Enix doesn't always get it right. Let's be honest. So let's not say.
To go along with your Gotham Knights, the CW has confirmed that despite axing 2 shows and cutting 1 season short, the Batman still sells. So a TV version of Gotham Knights has been picked up for a full series. The series will follow Bruce Wayne's adopted son, who is framed for killing Batman. Along with the children of several iconic villains. If there is that much death involved, odds are this is Jason.
Yeah, it's gonna be Jason, but it's just like my stomach was like, no.
So already the red flag is not that he's killed Batman.
Yeah.
It's that he's going after the children of Batman's iconic villains.
Where have we heard this story?
That is your red flag, people.
Where have we heard this story before?
And if his sister isn't automatically Helena Wayne, then there's issues. But God help me if we hear, oh, he's killed the Joker and Harley's daughter.
Right. And
Or knowing them, they will dig deep, and it will be the twins of Harley and Joker punching Judy.
I cringe already. It's like I'm sorry, but I'm already cringing
Now,
on this.
if they're going to go the other route, because this is also the CW, that would mean it'd be Ivy and Harley's kids, which I have no problem with, but still, that's a red flag.
It would probably be the latter.
With villains' kids.
It would probably be the latter, just because CW likes to do teenage drama, and Ivy and Harley kids would probably be more adept than Joker and Harley. So I can see before Joker, I can see that happening. But still,
who is framed for killing? Framed for the Batman's killing, along with the children of several iconic villains.
Yeah,
I can't get behind that, man. I can't get behind villain babies.
You know what's good. You know CW is going to happen because
they're going to be as iconic as the Combat Kids.
Damn.
With the exception of Jackie, because she's actually used widely in tournaments.
True, but still, it's still going to be a train wreck. What else? What other news did I actually have? I was kind of thinking of everything that I've covered so far, because I think we covered a lot of the shows. I think there's a lot. There wasn't really much in the way of news. Was there any news that we might have missed, Joe?
We got the Inhumans possibly getting a reboot for Disney Plus
after Multiverse of Madness. I can see that
the potential redemption for that one actor that played Black Bolt that got to come back to playing Black Bolt.
Yeah, Anson Mount.
Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be down for that if done right, but by God, the moment you show a picture of Scissors in the same frame as Medusa, I'm changing the channel.
Oh, how they did Medusa in the ABC version. Actually, the ABC version of Medusa wasn't half bad. But
she had no hair.
Yeah, that's true. But at least we got the dog.
True. I mean, but Lockjaw can also be in the Fantastic Four. Nobody would question that.
Also true. But
supposedly, Zack Snyder fans rigged the Oscars through the use of bots to enhance voting, to force it being a fan favorite over, what was the other one?
Over the Oscar rate was the Oscars. I forgot. It was another sci-fi movie, but I forgot what it was.
Taking thousands of votes for Army of Dead and the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who else was in the running with that, but I believe it was like other movies that were much more deserving. If that's the case, guys, shame on you. Although I will applaud your ingenuity, but still shame on you.
But the funny part is, when it comes to Snyder fans, they are. You know what? Say what you want, because I say this about Snyder fanboys mostly all the time. They are some dedicated SOBs. There are some dedicated SOBs to doing everything they can to get Zack Snyder back to the little seat of glory they thought he had.
It's almost as if it was like a cult.
Yes, it is a cult. It is the cult of Snyder, because I cannot tell you. Oh, you've ran into this. We've all ran into those Zack Snyder fans that will defend Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. They'll defend Justice League. They'll defend Suicide Squad. They will defend those movies as top tier cinema, and we all know better.
And just like every time someone posts that, and I post my Abed meme, I'll just ask them, "Are you aware of what Stockholm Syndrome is?"
I've been using that meme since you showed me that. It's like, is that something Zack Snyder did? I'm like, don't get me wrong, Zack Snyder, I've said this before, Zack Snyder is not a terrible director.
He is a brilliant cinematographer. He is a crap director.
Yeah, I mean, look at 300. 300 was done brilliantly. I'm never going to knock that. But, I didn't like Army of Zombies. I loved Army of Thieves. I thought Army of Thieves was great. Army of Zombies, you're kind of ripping off George A. Romero. I'm just gonna be honest. The man deserves better for what he brought us. That's all I'm saying.
In other news, Spider-Man turned 60 this summer. To celebrate, we will be having a gigantic Spider-Man issue 1000 coming with numerous contributors,
Mhm.
both artists and writers. Most notably, Neil Gaiman,
Yes.
Armando Iannucci, Jonathan Hickman, Dan Slott, Hohei Anderson, Kurt Busiek, Anthony Falcone. I didn't realize a Batman gangster was going to be contributing art to Spider-Man, but they got to make a living somehow. Rainbow Raoul, who is most notably currently writing or drawing She-Hulk. No, it's either writing or drawing. I forget which one she does.
You had me at Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman, when
Yep.
he was, you had me at Neil Gaiman. Is if he's gonna be one of the writers, I'm already down.
Jim Chung, Oliver Coipel, Michael Cho, and Terry Dodson, who's currently doing art on Adventure Man. Strangely, Chip Zdarsky's not in here. That's a little weird, but I guess since he's doing his,
Isn't he taking over for the other line?
yeah, he's taking over Batman. Still
Yeah.
won't read it, but I'll at least check in on it more.
Damn.
We are also getting the trilogy, the final chapter of the Spider-Verse trilogy this summer with End of the Spider-Verse. We have already seen 2 new Spider personas come out, with a Craven persona called Spider Hunter and a Black Cat Spider person known as Night Spider.
Nice.
I kind of hope that she's like the daughter of Black Cat and Spider-Man, and not just what if Felicia Hardy got bit by the spider and turned to a life of petty thievery? I'm hoping it really is. What if Felicia and Peter had a kid, and then Mom just couldn't let go of old habits and took her daughter out on a few jobs, and she really liked the adrenaline rush?
Take your kid to work day.
Take your kid to work day.
Take your kid to work day.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We are also, should you read Free Comic Day, we're getting the new Spider-Man event, The Dark Web, where Ben Reilly goes and makes really good friends with Madeline Pryor, because, you know, they're both clones of people that are really important, that both now have semi-supernatural powers.
Is it bad that
also includes turning Mailbox into possibly a symbiote demon.
Chat.
I'll roll with it, because at least Ben gives Peter something he doesn't have now, which is a Venom.
That's true. It's just the name. Don't get me wrong. I know it has to be maddening to come up with a name for villains, especially iconic.
Well, as I said, I bet Marvel's kicking themselves for calling Gwen Stacy Ghost Spider so early, because you look at Ben, I think Ghost Spider. I don't think Chasm.
That's what I would think would work perfectly. Ghost Spider would be perfect. I'm a mere shadow of a former self. That would be that fits.
Unless the whole Chasm thing is that his face actually does do that memory thing, and he can inflict that on other people and make their memories cave in on themselves. Ooh. And that's his actual power on top of, you know, psychokinetic ectoplasm. Then the name makes more sense, and I'm down for it.
Somewhere Ghost Rider's gonna be pissed. He's like, wait a minute, Queen Goblin already has a stare. Now he's gonna have this.
No. He's not working with Queen Goblin.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
He's working with Goblin Queen, which is the Ben likes the Queen. Ben likes the Goblin royalty, Lady Goblin royalty.
Right, but they all have that same kind of powers, a la Ghost Rider's pen and stare, in a way.
I mean, yeah, Maddie is. I think that also kind of spoils potentially the trials of magic.
Sounds like it. I would say so.
Not to mention, we also learned that Madeline Pryor and Ben Reilly will be attending the Hellfire Gala together. So I actually do want to see what Ben wears to the Hellfire Gala.
That's going to be interesting as all get out.
Also, Mary Jane will be attending the Hellfire Gala, as she will be controlled by Moira. That's the whole thing right now.
That's interesting. I'm a little concerned, but that's interesting.
I'm more concerned that Steve Rogers looks like Geese Howard at the Hellfire Gala. Now you Google Steve Rogers' current Hellfire Gala costume.
The thing about that is, I know I actually had pulled it up when I was at the con because someone else mentioned it. I was like, damn.
He's even got the geese chin. All you got to hear is "You cannot escape long death."
Oh, God.
Or hear someone hit the shield, and just Steve go predictable.
Oh man. But no, it's gonna be Hellfire Gala. This annual Hellfire Gala is definitely gonna be an interesting one. I will say that. I was trying to think of other news that we had before. I was gonna ask you about this. Did you actually see about AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door next month?
Yes, that's going to be interesting.
I am going to so watch that. I was like, shout out to Tony Khan. Tony Khan for him taking on a name that literally is like whispered among wrestlers and that you made the name of a pay-per-view with New Japan. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be killer. But to me, I just love the fact they said, what are you gonna call pay-per-view? Forbidden Door. And especially if you saw the Japanese advertisement for it. I don't know what it is about Japanese advertisements and Western advertisements, but Japanese advertisements sound so much better. I don't know why. Because I went back and watched it in I watched New Japan's advertisement for Forbidden Door, and I watched AEW's advertisement for Forbidden Door. New Japan made it seem like it was going to be the next Dragon Ball movie to me.
Let me think what else we got going on. Doctor Strange, in a matter of 1 week, has already grossed over $500 million.
Well, they made their money back and then some.
Yeah, they're close to. They currently have total box office, both worldwide and domestic, is $568.8 million on a $200 million budget.
Oh yeah, so they made their money back plus interest, so they got it.
Oh yeah.
Which again just proves to Marvel again, better script writers. Just saying, Sony. Just saying.
Yeah.
Better script writers. I'm not saying awesome script writers. I am not saying perfect. I am saying better compared to other script writers. They have better
I'd be
writers.
really careful what I'm saying because I know someone who is a huge Scarlet Witch fan, and I do not want to make that woman angry.
Uh-oh. What are you gonna say?
Oh no, just I don't want to badmouth Doctor Strange. She'll know. I don't know how, but she'll know.
Ooh.
I even gave her the Darker Than Scarlet book, which is the Tale of Avengers Acts of Vengeance.
Okay.
Where it's one of the other times Scarlet Wanda has psychotic break and goes evil.
Oh man, the cult of the Scarlet Witches came out already. They have came out and was like, someone actually wanted to make sure that Wanda was right. I was like, really?
Still my argument on the whole Scarlet Witch thing, and we're taking it back to Doctor Strange, guys, but it'll be brief, is, Marvel is looking for their Wonder Woman, and everyone thinks it's Captain Marvel. It is Wanda.
Yeah.
It is Wanda. This is not an attack against Brie Larson. I love the Captain Marvel movie. I love it to death because I'm also biased because I'm the son of an aviator. So, I'm partial to aviators, but we've had how much with Captain Marvel and we've had how much with Wanda.
That's true. You've had a lot more Captain. You've had a lot more with Wanda than Marvel.
And this is not to say anything poor about Captain Marvel, but I really do think Wanda has had more significant tales in Marvel than Carol. Of course, I could be wrong because, we had like the Captain Carol Corps. We've had our time as Photon. We've had the skeevy and infamous issue of Avengers 200 in dealing with Carol, the advent of Miss Marvel, the advent of Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel being one of the first, I don't know if I'm right on this or not, but one of the first Black Avengers.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. I was unsure if that was the case or not. I do know Black Panther was a Avenger long before Captain Marvel, but
yeah. No, you're right.
There's the whole rogue thing and whatnot, but I just feel like Wanda's always been in the foreground of Marvel, and Carol's just now starting to become a foreground character.
Yeah. But I can see that though. But no, not to go too much into it. I'm like, it's like I had to kind of go into my own circles, and people that have seen the movie, they are defending her to a death, and I'm like, guys, y'all do understand that she literally took a town hostage. She took a town hostage. She took people against their will.
She did it in grief and sadness and didn't realize she was doing it.
I mean, even Agatha was like, I'm not that evil. I mean, I'm evil, but I'm not that evil. It's like it's like Agatha was like, look, I know I'm terrible, but you got me beat. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
evil, but that's evil with the name tag.
Yeah. That's why I love Catherine Harness. I can't think of her name. Catherine, I think is right. Catherine
Catherine
Harness.
Hahn.
Catherine Hahn. Thank you. I did love her take on it because it was that whole thing of, oh, I know I'm evil, but you, who are you fooling? But no. But speaking of Marvels, though, I think there was some news about is it Miss Marvel being shown in
Yes,
Pakistan?
Ms. Marvel will be coming out June 8th. Yay, I get a nice birthday present the day after my birthday with the premiere of Captain Marvel. Also, it will be getting a theatrical release for I want to say the first 2 episodes possibly.
Okay.
Over in Pakistan, which is something unheard of, but it's all about diversity and making sure everyone gets to see themselves in a costume at some point, and I am all for that.
Oh yeah, representation definitely matters.
Oh yeah.
And definitely, and in that case, yeah, I can see why they're wanting to make it a big deal, just because it is a Pakistani hero that is something that they can definitely relate to. So I mean, to them, I was trying to tell somebody, it's like, look, what Miss Marvel is to Pakistan, it's kind of like how Black Panther is when that came out, and there was such a push for everybody to go see the movie and to actually see a representation of Black Panther, and it's like,
and everybody going to the movies dressing like Coming to America.
It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing.
I still want to know if I freeze frame in the right place, is there going to be a McDonald's in Wakanda?
Why not?
I have the movie in Blu-ray. I have the movie on Disney Plus. Will I spot a McDonald's if I freeze frame in the right place?
If you see a McDowell's, you will be the first. But I wouldn't. You know what? But I wouldn't put it.
I spotted King in I spotted King in Moon Knight. So
I'm just saying, if you did see a McDowell's if you did see a McDowell's literally and figuratively in Wakanda, run with it, because I'd be more about the barber. To me, it'd be more about the barbershop talk. Just could you imagine in there with?
Oh, I want to see him go in there and get his hair done with those 3.
With just vibranium shearing, just see those 3 still talking.
We're learning those 3 are actually how Wakanda keeps running.
Oh man, I love T'Challa. T'Challa was great, but he's no T'Chaka. Every time we talk about great kings, you bring up T'Chaka. You know he was foul, right? He killed his own brother, right? Left the boy out there, and he come out there and cause all kind of hell. What did he call himself? Killmonger? Yeah. I can see that. I don't know why, but I feel like Eddie Murphy, if Eddie Murphy and Disney ever got together, I would think that would be the most infamous if
my head canon, they're neighboring nations.
So what? I'm sorry.
In my head canon, they're neighboring nations, and then that one nation ruled by what's his name is just over there off to the. It's like Wakanda, Eddie Murphy's kingdom, Wesley Snipes' kingdom.
Oh man, that's just to see Wesley Snipes on Black Panther. And it's like, this feels familiar. Like I brought this up before, and he just looks at the screen, and it's just like, oh. He's like, it's okay. It's not like you guys came up with the idea first. I'm just saying.
What else we got? Shin Ultraman is finally released in Japan. We are waiting on a box office at the moment.
Okay.
This is the second of the Shin series done by Ultraman producer Ultraman creator Hideki Anno. Next year we will get Shin Kamen Rider, but we will get a box office total soon. I have a feeling it's going to be doing a good job. Lead actor Takumi Sato, who is Shinji Kaminaga, who will be Ultraman. He has recently stated, I have had fond memories of playing Ultraman toys all my life, and my father was one of the crew members behind the television series Ultraman Taro.
Nice. Oh, I did well. Shoot, the last Ultraman. There were new episodes on the Netflix. They were actually not bad.
It's an interesting retelling in a different universe. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I actually caught up on the most recent episodes. I thought it was well done, but I went to look for that. But Kamen Rider, I need to catch up big time. I ever since you introduced me that one site that we can't say because we don't want heavy traffic going there. But
yeah, no,
we don't want heavy traffic going there. But that one site you showed me is where I've been catching up on Kamen Rider there. But no, I can live with that. What else? What other news we got?
I think that's it at the moment. We got that really weird Resident Evil trailer that the Netflix is launching that doesn't look anywhere close to Resident Evil.
I wouldn't.
It doesn't even look anywhere close to the Resident Evil movie franchise that had Alice running around. No, I take that back. It looks like the one where they had the city for a little bit before the zombies took them over.
Yeah, but that's the thing that takes me off. How do you have Lance Reddick, who in my mind, great actor, great voice actor, because he's in multiple things, and the fact that the premise makes no sense. The premise is flashing back before the outbreak and then many years post-outbreak. And I'm just like, again, this goes back to video game adaptations into movies and television shows. You have plenty of source material. What's wrong with using source material? What's wrong with that? It's like, that was the problem with Welcome to Raccoon City. That was the big problem with Welcome to Raccoon City. It was literally you trying to tell the entire Raccoon City arc in one movie. It made no sense. I mean, you can't go from the train to the mansion to the city all in one movie. It would make no sense. And we saw how that didn't make any sense. So that's why I said when I saw that Netflix Resident Evil one, I'm like, I'm concerned. But again, this is why I think it is, because video games and comics are dominating movies and television right now, that almost any IP at this moment is up for grabs. It's just the whole idea, just if it's not being done right. Like, case in point, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was what? Almost 5-6 months ago? I want to say about 5 or 6 months ago. When Mortal Kombat came out, okay, it was cool. It was great. We all dug it. Nothing wrong with that. They're coming out with a sequel. Again, cool. I look forward to that. Some people had a little bit too high hopes in Mortal Kombat. Others who watched the 1995 version, we knew. We knew off the bat that, hey, it's how can I put this so nicely? It's all that we had back in 1995.
Now, we use that excuse for Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Yeah,
that's all we use for Annihilation of it had a banging soundtrack. That's it.
I mean, that's all you got from Annihilation was the soundtrack, because the aminality made no sense. Nightwolf teaching Luke.
I am Liu King, 100% Chinese. I turn into a Gaelic dragon.
I just thought to myself the whole entire time, Nightwolf teaching Liu Kang how to reach his aminality. I'm like,
by tossing an axe at his head.
And then I'm
Shao Kahn turns into a giant tapeworm.
Yeah, it's just like Jax fighting Cyrax at post arm surgery, post cybernetic arm surgery, and then only to have Montaro just literally rip his arms off and beat him with them. It's just like, don't get me wrong, again, video game adaptation, and I say this best, sometimes some video games can only be just animation. Animation allows you to freely do stuff that you cannot do in real life. I am completely okay with that. If Mortal Kombat stuck with animation, which I think was what, the two Scorpion movies for Mortal Kombat were both great.
The second one is not that great.
Oh, you didn't like what was the second one called?
Might as well just be Defenders of the Realm.
Pretty much.
Look, the best thing about that is they brought Stryker along just to die.
Stryker was cannon fodder.
They even brought in Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero mythologies into that movie. That's your red flag.
That is also true, which could have been a movie unto itself. The fact of just,
It doesn't need to be. No one needs to be reminding of that.
you
So if
didn't
they
like some.
better put a joke about how hard the jumping is.
Oh no, the jumping was never the problem. To me, it was always fighting the four gods, fighting the four elemental gods. Fusion just like to screw with you, but at least the fire one was at least about what. And someone said, "Why don't you use ice?" I said, "Hang on a second. You do realize he's the god of fire, elemental god of fire, and you want to freeze him, and then you wonder why you keep losing." I just thought to myself that was the funniest thing ever. But no, it's with video game movies, they just don't. Well, some of them do. Well, shoot, I can't say that because Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 have done exceptionally well. But that's a very, very small exception. Because Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 did do well. I can't knock that. And the fact that they're going to come out with a 3, I mean, well, if you've seen Sonic 2 by now, you know there's going to be a 3 coming with Shadow, and how that's going to work. But no, with most movies, it's just like when they get those video game adaptations, they just unfortunately just don't do well. But that's what it is, though. But what else we got, Joe?
Last bit of news before comics: the new Doctor Who has been announced. It is from Netflix's Sex Education. And I hope I'm pronouncing this name right. Nakuti Gatwa, who is Rwandan Irish, I want to say.
I'm going to go with that. Because that's the one that makes the most sense to me. But yeah, the fact that he is going to be the 14th Doctor again?
Rwandan Scottish.
That's an interesting mix. But he's the 14th Doctor, right?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I kind of feel bad for Jodie Watley just because I don't think she ever got a fair shake as the Doctor, but I could chalk it up to writing. Writing.
She had some bad writing. She had some really bad writing. On top of that, also Stephen Moffat is returning.
So that's good.
To the show along with him. So it will be quite interesting. See if the man can pull off that old black magic again.
I think he could, considering his success record, and if the BBC doesn't get in his way.
I, for one, have no issue with it. I think I was rooting for Richard Io today, but we can't always have what we want. I just want Moss to be the Doctor just a little bit, and I want him to just be Moss as the Doctor.
That would be interesting, though. But then again, they also talk. They always, every time a Doctor comes up, it's like everybody goes back to John Barrowman and asks, "Would you come back and do Torchwood?" Which he has said he would do, but
he had that chance and then blew it.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He kind of always has a forgiving door.
Really, that is what cost him the new series and appearing in the Doctor Who thing is the allegations against him.
Oh, he had not him too.
Just overly friendly on people, and some people just take it the wrong way and submitted some stuff. I mean, if you're grabby at cons, then sometimes people just don't appreciate it.
I guess so, because I'm like, yeah, he is overly excitable, but I was like, I mean, I remember meeting him. I'm like, yeah, the dude is a little much, but I'm like, he's not bad.
No.
I'm like, he's not bad, but you're right. Some people can take that as offensive, but dang, I didn't think that would cost him the Torchwood reboot. But I mean, hey, at least we get a black Doctor.
Yep.
I can't knock that. But speaking of that, so comics, what you have this week for us as you're queuing that up, Joe?
I can close that. So I'll let Will take this one off the bat because I am not super familiar with this book. As soon as it gets up.
Which one is it? Because there were a few ones that you got that I'm like, I have a theory on one. Well, I told you this at the con that one of the books this week, I have a theory about how it's going to coincide with Love and Thunder. I just hope I'm right.
There we go.
All right. Just waiting for it to pop up. There we go. Okay, so Blood Syndicate. I actually had to go back and go read this one because this one I did not know a lot about, even though it had two of my favorite heroes in it, Icon and Rocket, and basically they're telling the story of their hometown, which now I guess has been cleared out of mostly gangs. I was gonna say which one? Latin Kings, Black Reds. So weird. I would say this for Blood Syndicate, they come up with some interesting ass gang names. But long story short, two of the main protagonists come back from the war, coming back to a town that they normally thought was riddled with violence, but now not as violent due to Icon and Rocket coming in and really clearing out the streets. But in this day and age, almost everybody is having emerging powers. So if you really think about it, to set the scene, think of it like Black Lightning's first 3 episodes. Everybody's finding out that they have powers. Even more so that there are some street level guys who are actually defending the citizens that Icon and Rocket cannot defend. Which is actually how the beginning of this book is actually starting, which are just introducing the characters, you have a little bit of their backstory, the fact that they are being very open as far as one of the protagonists being a certain. I mean, it's giving bisexual tendencies, so they are really pushing the envelope with one of the main characters.
And that's Fade, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they
I
are.
don't know too much about this thing. I know that the protagonist is usually Holocaust, but I know that they are demoting some characters and promoting some characters because I believe in the original Blood Syndicate, Tech 9 was mostly there for the guns and didn't have a whole lot to do, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
But in this one, it seems like him and Fade are the main two.
Right. So that's what I was looking at. But no, I mean, just long story short, it's a nice setup to what they're trying to explain about pretty much Holocaust trying to take back after all the big power players have been kicked out. So it's a nice setup story to this line. I do want to continue to follow it. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm just surprised that, a lot of leeway they're setting up with this first episode, with this first issue. But it's definitely worth going back and reading.
Yep, this is written by Green Lantern writer Jeffrey Thorne. So this is exactly what he bounced off of Green Lantern to do, which I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Go over here. Pencils by Crisscross. Inks by Juan Castro. Color by Will Quintana. And letters by doesn't matter on that one. We also have an old school variant and a new school variant, which unfortunately we did not get. I enjoyed it, but again, outside of Static and Icon and Rocket, I am completely blind to Blood Syndicate. So this was an interesting thing for me. This honestly kind of reminded me of the opening arc of this old Steel comic in the 90s once he got a solo series.
Pretty much.
It's what this kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'll keep looking at it. If Will wants to keep bringing it up and checking in every now and then, I'm all for it.
Yeah, my list is growing. my list is growing at this moment.
Right now, this is, I believe, it's this and Hardwire are they're still in season 1.
Okay.
Icon, Rocket, and Static are already done with their season 1s for Milestones.
Gotcha.
So we recommend it. It's interesting to see different characters promoted to different stances.
Oh yeah. Still weird that Holocaust is just something. Holocaust is acting more like Tobias Whale, but that's just me.
Yeah. Moving on over, we got Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 11. This is written by Tom Taylor, art by Cyan Tormey, colors by, there we go, Federico Blee and Matt Herms. This was fun to read. We get to learn that John doesn't trust Batman. And Pa Kent lets lets Bruce in on a little secret of the parent wheel.
The
And pretty much flat out owns Clark in parenting, but then again, it's Pa Kent, so no duh. John has to go and ask his boyfriends, like, hey, does your group do this stuff? And he's like, well, yes and no, we do, but like as an extreme last resort, and only when we have no choice. But yeah, we do some rather unsettling stuff, but again, only as an absolute last resort.
Yeah, we never hurt nobody unless they deserved it.
Yeah.
Unless they just had it coming. It's like, dang.
And we also get to see Bendix contacting Luther. It's like, all right, we got to move. This kid's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And Luther's is like, yeah, you do what you want there, Chief.
Luther's like, look, I've tried and I've failed. Good luck.
It's like, look, I deal with the boy's father. This is all you. You're already a knockoff me to begin with. Just have fun.
Right.
By the way, I don't think this one has a problem with green rocks. Go for it.
Yeah, it's like that part. That's the part was killing me. It was like, you know what? You go ahead. It's like everybody has to learn their own way. You go ahead.
The Pa Kent telling Kirk's like, oh yeah, no, I know more than you think. We've been me and Ma been talking to Alfred almost every single week. It's called the Paris Circle, Clark.
That still killed me. Parental support group, the parental superhero support group.
I honestly God wonder if they have like some way of contacting Hippolyta when she was still alive in Philippus.
I'm still laughing about the whole thing. Is like the whole verbal beat that was like, are you really the person that should be talking about choices and trusting people? It's like, dang, let's go down your decision path, shall we?
Is it Damien's mom an assassin? That's a fair point. And then, of course, the cool thing about this one is John also goes to Nightwing, because at this point now, Nightwing is the big brother.
Yeah.
To John. And also, Clark personally asks Nightwing, is like, look out for my kid, would you?
Yeah.
Doesn't go to Bruce. Goes to Dick. It's like, please, dear God, look out for my boy. And John and Dick even says, like, well, if Batman says something about this, look, he's mistrustful of everybody, but he's also right 90% of the time. He's just really bad at going about it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just ask your boyfriend, and if you get the truth from him, great. If you think he's lying to you, you come to me and I'll find out.
Pretty much.
I really dug it. This was fun.
Oh yeah, it was definitely great. It was definitely a great read. I just Batman just coming in thinking, he's like, and then of course you see John go, I hate Batman, but at the same time he might be right.
I just like Pa Kent coming in with the comic books, like, Clark or Bruce, let's go have a chat.
Right. It's just the whole thing. Let's have a chat, son. Let's just have a chat about decision making, and let's show you where you're probably wrong.
Moving on over to Marvel, we got Hulk versus Thor: Banner of War Part 1. This is written by Donny Cates, art by Martin Cocolo, and colors by Matt Wilson. This is a continuation of the Donny Cates Spaceship Hulk series.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, now they have decided now that he's back in the main universe, he's going to immediately go fight Thor. And apparently this fight is so big that even the Watcher's there, and even the Watcher goes like, look, they fought a lot in the past, but not like this.
And yet he's got popcorn. And the Watcher's sitting there like, hey, I'm doing my job.
I am still hit and miss with this version of Hulk, but that's because it's really tough to follow up on Immortal Hulk.
He's a starship that basically Bruce has turned the Hulk into a starship, and his psyche that he has a psyche of him and Betty, and has the engine room where apparently Hulk is in rage mode, constantly fighting people. Okay,
Of various levels, but
yeah,
he has already learned he cannot go above 8, I
yeah.
think,
I think it was 8.
or not Claw comes out.
I was there laughing where you see when you see Thor just put Mjolnir on Hulk, and he's like, don't. He's like, Hulk, give it up. And it's like Bruce is like, yeah, you fought the Hulk. Now you're gonna fight me. And it's like you thrusted yourself through the hammer, and Thor is like, okay. It's like
And then Bruce just tells him, now call the hammer Thor.
just and the whole thing about Odin, this is the theory I have, that the whole thing about Odin, because in the issue they do talk about Mjolnir being destroyed, but then Odin's spirit is imbued within Mjolnir, so now Odin's voice is in Thor's head. And nevermore has there been a questionable parent in your head mid-fight.
You know what it reminds me of?
What's up?
And this is a long old thing. It reminds me of the Tick with the human bullet, where it's like the dude goes, "Fire me, boy."
I can see that. I can see
All
that.
he does in this one is like, "Throw me, son."
Yeah. But this is why I was telling you. I said, here's my theory. Now, with Love and Thunder coming out, with Thor Love and Thunder coming out, and we kept on saying the whole entire time, for all intents and purposes, Mjolnir is destroyed. But as we can see in the trailer, we see a reforged Mjolnir being handled by Jane Foster. My theory is after reading this issue, are we honestly going to hear Odin's voice within Mjolnir? Because it kind of makes up for how it would be done.
No, see, my thought on that is that Thor never tried to pick it up again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when Jane picks it up the first time, it's just going to reform because it counts her as worthy.
Yeah.
Like Thor brings back old Mjolnir, right?
Yeah.
Which is why Steve has it.
Mm-hmm.
He's never tried to pick up the hammer once it was broken, and he's also probably no longer worthy.
True.
Until the end of this film. So my guess how they're going to do it in this one is it's just going to reform on its own because it's a new worthy user.
Fair. I can see that. But again, though, just to hear Anthony Hopkins' voice just literally next to Thor, though.
Is that thing still alive?
That would be interesting. But no, this was a good issue. I did like just the whole thing about Thor's like, I just want to fight something. And you like, and there it is. It's like exactly what I needed. But no, I thought it was interesting, especially the whole thing of turning Hulk into a ship. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's the part that also kind of turns me off at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's an interesting concept. I don't think they've ever tried anything like that.
No.
But at the same time, it's just really weird even for the Hulk.
It is. I mean, the first time I actually read that, I was like, okay, you've broken down the Hulk into 3 things. It's not bad, but now at the end of this issue, it's kind of bad because now Odin has somehow entered Bruce's mind and now is a physical form in his head, and apparently they're gonna fight. Which I'm just like, Bruce, you're not gonna win a fight against an Asgardian. That's all I'm saying.
No, you are not.
It's like you're not.
Honorable mention, even though it's not on the list, to the new 2099 series where we get to see Miguel O'Hara team up with the 2099 Ghost Rider, which is a Ghost in the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Very good book. I will be keeping up with that. Moving on over. We got X-Men number 11. This is written by Jerry Dugan, art by Pepe Larraza. God bless that man. Coloring by Marty Garcia. Here's our sport players. We get Marvel Girl, Rogue, Wolverine, and Polaris go up to Game World, and Play the table, try to get info on where to do because Rogue got information on where Game World is from Rocket.
Yep.
Gambit and Rocket are doing some other things. I believe Scott has found Dr. Stasis, and we find out who Dr. Stasis is. But the real focus on this one I really enjoy is the girls going up in their Hellfire Gala gowns to go and just go mingle and do some stuff in Game World.
Yeah.
We also see Cordyceps Jones is a real, actually an actual threat. And we see that Polaris has immediately dumped all her duties to go dress shopping. God bless that woman. We all see that someone tries to threaten Genius like, honey, even I didn't listen even to the Phoenix. What makes you think I'm going to listen to you?
It's just
Because we're forgetting that this Gene is the new Gene.
right.
It's all new, all different X-Men Gene who's experienced everything. And it's old Gene fused into one being. So
Yeah.
Laura being pretty much the equivalent of a mutant clicker from what's it called? The video
What?
game.
Someone say that one more time.
The clickers from the one video game with Joel and Ellie.
Oh, that's what they call. That was right. You're talking about you're not talking about the clickers were the ones with the heads. Are you talking about clickers?
Yeah,
Clickers
so
or biters?
pretty much makes you a clicker from Last of Us.
Yeah.
If he breathes on you. So he gets Wolverine, he gets Laura, which that sucks. I'm so tired of them constantly doing this to Laura. Dr. Stasis fights Sync and Cyclops, I think, or just
Yes.
Sync.
No, he fight no, it's Cyclops.
Okay. Rogue just is like around doing her stuff because Rogue probably has the best intentions on interacting with gamblers considering what her husband does for a living.
Right.
And like I said, Polaris just like immediately ditches and goes dress shopping.
That is the most unreliable. That is the most unreliable superhero I ever met.
No, I mean, you just don't want to make her mad. I mean, she is the daughter of Magneto. She does have all of his powers.
True.
We do see what happens when you knock out all of her team and make her spill her flat white.
That is also true, but still, it's like you got this. I'm going shopping. Wait, what?
All in all, a great issue. The art's fantastic. I like where this is going. Although I will say this, Pepe Larraza being such a good artist, his mojo is terrifying.
Well, I mean, the last part of the comic though, I was like, that was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that last part was really good.
Yep. I don't think I've ever seen a version with a club, but it's whatever.
Right. That was I had the same thought you did. That's what I was like, okay, they're gonna explain that, hopefully.
But yep. So really good one on this one. As always, if the X ladies are out and about, something's really going down because these are some scary, scary women.
Right.
And rounding it out, we have the final issue of the first arc of Image's crossover. A lot of stuff happens. Ellie gets her super image sword. We see not Donny Cates. No, it is Donny Cates. Donny Cates, full powers in action. We see a crap ton of image characters, and then we learn who the true villain possibly is.
The author's story point was killing me. I was like,
oh, I love it. I love it so much.
I kind of cracked up laughing. It's like, who thought of this? Who thought this was a good idea?
Oh, we get to see how Negan handles everything. He does not handle this well.
Oh man, it was just funny. It's like, this is a terrible setup for an end protagonist. Who thought this was a? Oh wait.
It's like a writer doesn't actually make the comic. We just write the words. You gotta go kill and then end credit.
Yeah, it was. you know what? I did not think I would enjoy it because I was like, wait a minute. So they're gonna write this from the POV of the writer, and it's just like there is so much mayhem that happens that it's just you did not. I'm not gonna lie. I did not think it was gonna grab me the way it did. Like I went from being like, okay, you're trying to write this from an interesting standpoint to now it's like, oh damn, I'm kind of intrigued where this goes now.
Yeah. Donnie Cates is the writer. Jeff Shaw is the artist. And D. Cuniff, we'll go with Cuniff, is colors.
Let's go.
John Hill is letters and design. Mark Wade is story edits, which makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
John Hill, Jeff Shaw, and D. Cuniff do covers with a Jonathan Hickman variant cover.
Yeah, it was definitely a good issue. I did not expect it to draw me in like that. Just like it was literally poking so much fun at itself. Like at his own self, it's like, wait, what is Negan? What it's almost like, are we afraid we're gonna get sued at this point? It's like, what is Negan doing here with Lucille?
I mean, we saw him kill his writer last issue, so you know.
I know it was just.
Which I still find funny that even Negan's like, "This is what made you made," and this extra is when you made me kill Glenn. I love that kid.
Yeah. Oh man, but I really did dig it. I thought it was really well done.
That's it for me on comics.
All right, appreciate that. As always, guys, we do always want to shout out Rick's Comic Book City, voted best comic book city in Nashville. So if you are in Nashville and Middle Tennessee area, definitely check them out. They do have 3 locations, one in Fort Campbell, one in Clarksville, and the other one in Donaldson. Definitely check them out and support your local comic book store because trust me, they are the living libraries of great story, great cinema, great anime, great manga. And if you've been to a con, great stuff, because Lord knows I probably bought a little bit too much at this con, but I will never complain about that. If you do not have the ability to make it to a comic book store, always check out your local library. Your local library, yes. Local libraries do carry the most up-to-date comics and manga and media out there. And even in 2022, it's still $1 to get a library card. I got mine because my library card says I read banned library books. And I was like, I have to have that. But definitely go out there and check it out. Again, support. If you can't support your local comic stores, please support your local libraries because trust me, the fun can always be found in the book. But Joe, as we're wrapping up, dude, anything you want to say about this week of streaming and other news you got going on, sir?
I'm so very tired right now.
You've been burning the candle on both ends, sir.
Oh yeah. Just want to eat my burrito supreme, have a cup of coffee, and go to sleep.
You drink it? I don't see how y'all do that.
Hyperactivity.
I wish I could drink a cup of coffee. If I drink a cup of coffee and go to sleep, that'd be a freaking miracle. I would be up. But okay. But also check him out. Are you still going to be doing relay? I can't.
Relay, yeah, I'll pick relay or backup this week. I have no idea where I am, and I think I'm in the layer of the hardest boss in the game.
Nice.
Millennia, or however you pronounce her.
Oh, an Elden Ring?
Yeah.
Oh, one hit Millennia? Oh.
I think I'm just gonna keep coming back until the let me solo her dude is on and just let him solo her.
I was gonna say, yeah, she's a one hit. I've seen some. Well, actually, take it back. I've seen one guy follow on YouTube has soloed her, but he is a master at tuck and roll. Like he would almost give a Souls player a run for his money. But yeah, I would say definitely try. I mean, if you try it, let me know because I'm definitely watching. Let me know when you're doing. I'll watch, so I know what to do. I still got to catch up on Elden Ring myself, but for all those that do pay attention, Joe does have a Twitch channel. Joe Italian last name. Of course, his YouTube at Total Justice Gaming, where you can definitely see him stream as well as I'm even tongue tied.
Card gaming stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go with that because apparently after almost 11 o'clock, my tongue decides it's time to call it a night. But But you can definitely find Joe, Natural Scarlet Spider and Natural Green Lantern on IG. Anything else, Joe, you wanted to know about?
No, that's pretty much it right now.
Okay, that's cool. Also, shout out to RN Geek Present Geek Salad for allowing us to share their page, allowing us to share our podcast on their Facebook page, YouTube page. Appreciate that, guys. Definitely check out Vaughn the Weatherspoon, Big BZA dot on all socials. They the Vaughn Weatherspoon on Facebook. Of course, guys, I can be found my IG BlackFox447 on Instagram. I usually do post a review of a lot of things, movies, television, video game reviews, and gym stuff because I do a couple push-ups. At the same time, guys, I do like to post a lot of things, especially about motivation, positivity, pushing people forward, just being nice, being decent. It literally takes zero energy to be nice. It takes almost everything in you to be a dick. So I always sit there and say, just be nice, be decent. You don't know what other people's battles are, what they're fighting, and things of that nature. Just simple hi, hello, or simple act of acknowledgement can actually help out people in a tremendous way. And that's all I'm trying to do. As you see at the ticker at the bottom, let me go ahead and blow it up just a little bit bigger. If you copy and paste that into your browser, it'll take you to our link tree that at the YouTube and Facebook pages for all of our podcasts, How the Fuck Got Here, Get Bit, and of course, the Offense Podcast. Definitely like, share, and subscribe and let other people know about it because this is a gaming channel for us to watch. We do cover everything, and as you can see, we cover everything from video games to anime to manga news to movies, as well as the obscene. I won't say the obscene because wrestling's not obscene. Wrestling is real. People are fake. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for that wonderful piece. But as you can see, we do cover everything. So thank you all guys who commented. Thank you, BJ, for commenting, for giving your input on the Flash tonight. We really do appreciate it. We will definitely be back this Friday, same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel. And of course, again, guys, take care of yourselves, each other. Please wear a mask. Please try to protect yourselves in the best way possible. Because again, the only way we're going to get through all this is to work together. So with that being said, guys, he's been Joe. I've been Will. This has been the Get Bit. This is going swimmingly well. This has been the Get Bit Podcast, Saturday night special, guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, take care of yourselves and each other. We will all get through this. Have a good night, guys. Peace.
Bye.